what we're really now seeing is that both of them, having posed as the victim for so long, are really the aggressors. There was always talk of reconciliation, but at that time, William didn't know that Harry and Meghan had already recorded their poison for Netflix. It was already edited.
Prince Harry's royal drama seems to be back, but not everyone's cheering for a reunion. According to Tom Bower, the Duke of Sussex is quietly scheming a comeback, not as a full-time working royal, but in a strange half-in, half-out role that would let him dip back into the perks of palace life while still keeping his California celebrity glow. That's right, Harry allegedly wants the best of both worlds. Royal privileges and red carpets, crowns and camera crews, titles and talk shows. But here's the kicker, it's not going well. In fact, it's going spectacularly badly. Because while Harry may be fantasizing about a royal reconciliation, the palace seems to be fantasizing about never hearing from him again. Now, let's back up for a second. We all remember the infamous Megxit saga. Harry and Meghan's dramatic exit from the royal family back in 2020 was supposed to be their ticket to freedom, privacy, and a fresh start. But fast forward a few years, and instead of thriving quietly in Montecito, the couple has become one of the most talked about and controversial duos in modern pop culture.
Harry has actually gone out of his way to undermine everything that we stand for. He's gone out of his way to undermine the family, the institution, everything. And I think Diana, well, I know, we all know, Diana would be shocked that we're sitting here today discussing her son as an outright liar, as a man who conspired with Meghan.
Between bombshell interviews, a tell-all memoir, documentaries, and the occasional South Park roast, Harry and Meghan's version of privacy has been, let's just say, very public.
I just think some people might say that your Instagram-loving wife actually doesn't want her privacy. How dare you, sir? My Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy!
And now, after the collapse of their Spotify deal and what insiders are calling a lukewarm future with Netflix, the financial cracks may be starting to show. According to reports, the Sussexes' once golden Hollywood brand is beginning to rust, and Harry might be eyeing the royal safety net again, just in case things go from bad to broke. But here's where things get sticky, because if Harry thought he could just pop back into Buckingham Palace like he never left, he might want to think again. Tom Bower claims that senior royals, particularly Prince William and Queen Camilla, are absolutely livid about Harry's rumored comeback plot. They see it not as a family reunion, but as a manipulative PR move, one designed to repair Harry's image and finances, not any actual relationships. And honestly, can you blame them? After everything Harry's said and done, the Oprah sit-down, the Netflix revelations, and his memoir Spare, which basically read like royal family therapy on the world's largest stage, it's a bit rich to come knocking on the palace door now asking for a part-time gig. And let's talk about that book for a moment. Spare wasn't just Harry's diary. It was a Molotov cocktail thrown directly at the monarchy. And the flames? They landed squarely on Queen Camilla. Harry's portrayal of her as the scheming villain who allegedly leaked stories to the press hit a raw nerve. Camilla, who has spent decades trying to rehabilitate her public image and stand by King Charles's side with a smile, was reportedly devastated. According to royal insiders, she's drawn a firm line in the sand and made it crystal clear to Charles. Under no circumstances should Harry be allowed to re-enter royal life in any form. Not as a full-time royal, not as a half-time one, not even as an intern with tea duties. Camilla, who now holds the title of queen, reportedly views Harry as a direct threat to everything they've built. And honestly, after being called a homewrecker for decades and finally reaching the top, can you really blame her for not wanting to hand Harry a free royal pass? But it doesn't end there. Prince William has reportedly slammed the royal gates shut even harder. Sources close to the heir to the throne say that William has completely cut off any chance of reconciliation with his younger brother. He's done, finished, over it. And it's not about being petty, it's about protecting the institution. William believes that Harry's return would make the monarchy look weak, inconsistent, and vulnerable to manipulation. Trust, he says, is gone. And without trust, there's no point. That's a brutal statement from someone who used to call Harry his best friend. But it gets worse because apparently within royal circles, Harry's not even referred to by name anymore. Palace insiders reportedly call him the former, as in the former royal, the former brother, the former future of the monarchy. He's become a ghost in his own family, mentioned only in whispers and only when absolutely necessary. And the public? They're not buying Harry's comeback campaign either. Polls in the UK show that a huge majority of the British public oppose the idea of Harry returning to royal duties. Many feel that he made his choice, cashed in on the drama, and now he has to live with the consequences. After all, you can't slam the palace doors shut on your way out, burn the bridge behind you, and then expect a key to the front gate 3 years later. It just doesn't work that way, not in real life and certainly not in the royal world. Meanwhile, the couple's Hollywood fairy tale isn't aging quite as gracefully as they hoped. Insiders in the entertainment industry have reportedly started backing away from the Sussex brand, weary of their habit of turning personal relationships into content. Remember when Tyler Perry let them stay in his mansion during the royal escape? That made it into the Netflix docuseries. Their wedding, their drama, their texts, their tears, it's all been packaged, polished, and monetized. And while that might work for a season or two of reality-style content, Hollywood executives are starting to ask, what's next? What do you do after you've told the same story for the 50th time? 'Cause even Netflix can only tolerate so much royal tea before the cup runs dry. And here's the real catch, there are no hybrid roles in the royal family. That's not how the monarchy works. You're either in or you're out. The late Queen Elizabeth was famously firm about that, and King Charles is reportedly following in her footsteps. Tradition, loyalty, and unity are the monarchy's survival tools, and bending the rules for Harry now would risk undermining the entire system. It would set a precedent that others could exploit, and worst of all, it would make the royal family look like it can be bought, or guilt-tripped, into forgiveness. But what's most heartbreaking in all this, beyond the politics and PR warfare, is the fact that this is still a family. Beneath the crowns and protocols are real relationships that have completely unraveled. Brothers who once laughed side by side at public events now reportedly don't speak. A father who walked his son down the aisle is now watching from a distance as that son publicly accuses his wife of being the royal villain. And a once glamorous royal couple is now seen, both inside and outside the palace gates, as outsiders knocking on a door that won't open again. And yet, even with the doors shut, the bridges burned, and the trust in shambles, Harry seems unwilling to let go of the fantasy. Because what makes this entire saga even more surreal is the almost audacious optimism that he can still carve out a special exception for himself. Not a full return, not a clean apology, but a sort of royal freelancing gig. Showing up for the parades, dodging the press, and still cashing the prestige check. It's like quitting your job in a fiery rage, publishing a tell-all about how terrible your boss was, and then asking for your parking spot back. But only on Wednesdays. But Harry's motivations aren't just emotional, they're increasingly financial. Couple Spotify deal, once touted as a revolutionary step in impactful audio storytelling, was abruptly cancelled after just one season of their podcast Archetypes. Reports swirled that Spotify execs were disappointed in the lack of content, consistency, and, frankly, relevance. Netflix is reportedly having second thoughts as well. Sure, the first documentary series pulled in viewers, but now that the bombshells have stopped falling, so has the attention. When you sell your life story upfront, there's not much left for the sequel. Because of this, insiders say Harry and Meghan's income stream is starting to wobble, and suddenly the golden safety net of royal funding looks very appealing. That crown, once heavy with responsibility, is starting to gleam like a potential lifeline. Of course, this hasn't gone unnoticed by the royals. Palace insiders believe Harry's renewed interest in royal life has less to do with healing and more to do with headlines and paychecks. One aide was even quoted calling the entire comeback plot transparent and transactional. And while that may sound cold, you can understand the sentiment. From the monarchy's point of view, offering Harry a part-time spot after everything that's happened would be like inviting a storm back into your house just because your umbrella broke. It might solve a short-term problem, but it creates a long-term disaster. And here's the reality check. The royal family isn't just a family. It's an institution, a brand, and a centuries-old symbol of continuity. Allowing one person to rewrite the rules to suit their personal situation risks shattering that image. If Harry is allowed to come and go as he pleases, cherry-picking the royal perks while dodging the responsibilities, what does that say to the rest of the family who stayed? What does it say to the public who fund the monarchy through taxes? And what does it say to the Queen's legacy? That her infamous "you're in or you're out" line can now be negotiated like a Netflix clause. And speaking of legacy, it's worth noting how far Prince William has come as the future king. He's stepping into his role with increasing confidence and clarity, and part of that means making tough calls, even when it comes to his own brother. William is said to be laser-focused on preserving the monarchy's credibility and ensuring a smooth transition from his father's reign to his own. Harry's chaotic re-entry, complete with headlines and public sympathy swings, would only complicate that. Therefore, William's cold shoulder isn't just personal, it's political. It's the heir putting duty above family, even if that means locking out someone he once shared a nursery with. Meanwhile, King Charles finds himself in the middle, once again torn between his role as monarch and his love for his son. Charles reportedly still has a soft spot for Harry and has expressed hopes for reconciliation. But Queen Camilla, let's be honest, has likely had enough. After being dragged through the royal mud yet again in Harry's memoir, she's apparently told Charles in no uncertain terms, enough is enough. The royal household can't afford to indulge Harry's revolving door ambitions anymore. And for a woman who spent decades trying to win over the public, Harry's open hostility may have finally pushed her patience to the breaking point. Outside the palace walls, the Sussexes are also running out of allies. Hollywood, which initially welcomed them like royalty, complete with A-list friends, glowing magazine covers, and red carpet invites, is now quietly stepping back. Producers are reportedly reluctant to work with a couple who turn every personal fallout into a media storm. Their inner circle has shrunk, and the whispers are getting louder. Without the royal connection, what exactly are Harry and Meghan offering? The glamour of royalty was their brand, but now that brand feels distant, diluted, and increasingly hard to market. And that's the great irony here. For a couple who once rejected the royal system for its outdated traditions and suffocating control, they now seem to be circling back to it, looking for a compromise that never existed. But you can't rewrite the royal rulebook just because your Netflix queue is running dry. The monarchy doesn't offer trial memberships or seasonal discounts. It's all in or all out. Still, you can't help but wonder, does Harry actually believe this could work? Or is this just a desperate swing at relevancy? A last-ditch effort to reclaim some form of power in a world where his name no longer guarantees headlines or handshakes? Is this about reconnecting with family or just reviving a fading brand? Regardless of the answer, one thing is clear. From the firm's perspective, Harry is no longer part of the royal future. He may still hold a title, still pose for glossy magazine covers, and still speak in clipped royal tones during interviews, but behind palace walls, he's already gone. The bridges are ash. The phone lines are silent. The door is closed, and this time it might stay that way for good. And yet, in typical Harry fashion, the story probably isn't over. Whether it's another documentary, another book, or another eyebrow-raising interview, the Duke of Sussex seems determined to keep his name and his version of events on the world stage. But if this latest comeback plan fails, he may find himself not just on the outside looking in, but completely forgotten by the very institution he once tried to walk away from with his head held high. So, what do you think? Is Harry's return a genuine olive branch or just another publicity ploy? Should the royal family consider forgiveness, or are they right to keep the gates locked? We want to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment of royal drama, celebrity scandal, or whatever madness comes next. Because with this family, there's always a next.